While dodging against the steel-fanged lichen, Jin-Woo was surprised by how light his body felt, and by how much stronger he got after increasing his strength attributes. However, the magic beast is still stronger, so Jin-Woo didn't know what to do. While running from the lichen, Jin-Woo thought he needed a weapon, so he took out a sword from his inventory and used it to cut the lichen's head in half. He still remembers that Kim bought it for 3 million won. He thought he could never afford it, but he wanted to put it to good use. Jin-Woo's injuries healed after he leveled up. However, he had to deal with 2 more lichens. Jin-Woo was not afraid anymore. He didn't panic even when the lichen caught his sword in its mouth, and he gave it a kick before cutting its head. And while the one remaining lichen ran away in fear, Jin-Woo thought they were nothing compared to the statues. While resting, Jin-Woo noticed that he had gained a level and 5 ability points. He thought fighting was more efficient compared to his daily quests. Although he had other stats like perception and intelligence, he still focused on strength. And after seeing how much stronger he had gotten, he was even more determined to work harder. Jin-Woo checked if the beasts dropped essence stones, but he found out that they dropped items instead, identical to video game logic. He also found out that he had gained access to the store, although it was still limited to selling his items for gold, and he had no idea how much it was worth in money. Afterwards, Jin-Woo planned his next course of action. He thought he couldn't stay for too long because of his lack of food, but he still doubts that he could beat the boss, so he realized that his only option was to keep on leveling up. But he was worried that he could die even before he gets strong enough. At the same time, the remaining lichen returned with its pack, but Jin-Woo told himself that he didn't have to be afraid as he had already experienced dying, and he started killing the lichens after charging in the middle of their pack. Jin-Woo started to enjoy the battle. He didn't care about the ridiculous rules as long as he could get stronger. While slaughtering the lichens, his level continued to rise, and he didn't notice that he also acquired the Wolf Assassin title. Outside the dungeon, the citizens were still troubled by the gates in the middle of the city, and they couldn't wait for the association to do something about it. After killing all the lichens, Jin-Woo's sword was in really bad condition. He thought it might be a good stopping point, as not only had he acquired the teleportation stone, he also gained a lot of items and the Wolf Assassin title, which increases his abilities by 40% against animal-type monsters. However, he was worried that the dungeon would completely disappear, and that he would never get the chance to get stronger this easily again. He still couldn't understand everything that was happening. He felt like he was dancing atop the Buddha's palm. But he put away the teleportation stone and decided to move forward. Juhi received another call from the Hunters Association, so she apologized for declining to join a raid previously. However, she was informed that a dungeon break happened close to her, and her assistance was also asked. This time, Juhi agreed to help, as she remembered how Jin-Woo refused to give up and tried to continue as a hunter as fast as he could. With each increase in Jin-Woo's level, it became easier for him to defeat the magic beasts. At the same time, he realized that the color of the beast's name describes how strong they are compared to Jin-Woo. When a monster's name is white, it means they are weak. When it is orange, it means their strength is equal to his. But when it is red, it means the monster is stronger than him. And it also changes as Jin-Woo gets stronger, as the lichen's red name is now white, also proving that he got a lot stronger. However, thanks to his improved perception, he could tell how much weaker he was compared to the boss monster. Jin-Woo was already level 15. He knew that the weaker monster couldn't help him raise his level anymore, and he didn't want to break his sword while fighting them pointlessly. After going down the subway, Jin-Woo thought it was barely recognizable. However, he couldn't observe his surroundings further as he was thrown away from the boss monster's attack, and his sword broke after using it to block. The magic beast was a gigantic snake, and despite Jin-Woo's increase in level, it had an orange name, so he was certain that it was the boss. Jin-Woo was troubled. He thought it was impossible for his broken sword to penetrate the monster's armored scales, and it was also out of the question to fight empty-handed. The snake tried to swallow Jin-Woo, but he managed to dodge, and he tried cutting the monster. But like he expected, his sword was useless against its scales. Because of this, all he could do was dodge its attack. However, it wasn't easy because of the monster's massive size, and Jin-Woo was thrown away after getting hit by its tail. And while the monster was going in and out of the water to attack Jin-Woo, the wave it caused threw the train in Jin-Woo's direction. Jin-Woo managed to dodge, but he realized how weak he still was, and he asked himself how much stronger he needed to be to make up for the time he spent as a laughingstock. Mr. Song mentioned to Jin-Woo how he had been labeled as the weakest hunter of all mankind. He thought it was inappropriate and childish. He asked Jin-Woo to work hard and prove everyone wrong, and Jin-Woo agreed. The snake continued to attack Jin-Woo, and it easily pushed him through the walls with its tail. Jin-Woo was ashamed and tired of being weak. He knew that overwhelming strength was above everything, and the weak could only quiver in fear and stand helplessly around the strong. And after facing death, he realized that as long as he was weak, knowledge, creativity, or kindness wouldn't save him, so he told himself that he would get stronger. Jin-Woo tried to climb up the monster, and despite getting thrown away again, he continued to rise, and his desire for strength just intensified. He told himself that the snake was nothing compared to the statues. He didn't stop trying to pierce the snake's scales with his sword, and when he lost his sword, he held onto the monster's scales, used his strength to crush them, and he refused to let go until the monster died. Jin-Woo gained multiple levels after killing the monster, and although he looked exhausted, he sat on the monster's corpse and laughed, thinking that he got a bit stronger. Jin-Woo was satisfied after seeing the dagger that dropped from the monster, as it not only doubled the attack of Kim's sword but also had paralysis and drain effects. On the other hand, Kasaka's venom glands effect made him nervous, although he still held on to it. Afterwards, the station returned to normal, proving that he really slayed the boss. After leaving the station, Jin-Woo was surprised when he didn't see anyone around. He was wondering what time it was when a soldier suddenly called out to him while talking about a broadcast. Jin-Woo was confused, but the soldier realized that he was a hunter, so he apologized and guided Jin-Woo towards the battlefield. Jin-Woo realized that it was a dungeon break, so the soldier explained that although most of the magic beasts had been taken care of, one big magic beast was left. Because of his improved perception, Jin-Woo could tell where the boss was. The civilians watched the battle between the boss and the hunters. Some were worried that the situation could get worse, while others were just annoyed that it wasn't over yet. The hunters were having trouble against the boss. Not only was their coordination bad, but the boss's powerful defense was also making their attacks useless. The civilians refused to make way for the soldier, so Jin-Woo was stuck behind the crowd, watching. He could tell the team was hastily assembled based on their coordination. He could also tell their ranks, and because none of their D ranks were damage dealers, they couldn't finish off the boss. He was surprised to see Juhi, but he knew she was still shaken up after seeing her fail to cast a healing spell. Jin-Woo didn't blame her, thinking he was the same. However, he started to wind up while telling himself that the D rank monster in front of him was weaker than the one he just fought. And while the hunters were thinking it was over for them, Jin-Woo threw the broken sword at the boss's head, easily shattering its defense. Because of this, the hunters managed to take down the monster. The D-rank tank knew it wasn't their attacks that shattered the boss's defense. He was in disbelief after realizing that it was shattered by the broken sword. He asked the soldier who threw it, but he already concluded that it was a high-ranking hunter. Jin-Woo thought a single attack from him shouldn't be enough, so he concluded that the golem was severely weakened already, while Juhi seemed to recognize him as she watched him leave. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.